Ever built something out of nothing? Ever known what it costs to be a boss? Ever met outstanding entrepreneurs that stand for something and don't fall for anything? Jiheshimu, lakini usikajidanganye. Know your worth, gain value. Established African.
Karibu sana, Mrs. Carole Mandi. This time I'm gonna be very straight without using the word Caroline, because your moms used to call you that whenever she needed to discipline you. That's good though, but that's a good story. So Karibu sana, we're glad and we are honored to have you here, at Established African, and this is a platform basically that we created so that we can empower our society, and you being the figure that you are today. I feel like you're a heroic figure, especially on the aspect of show business in Kenya. You've changed a lot, you've taught us culture, you have taught people how to read, you make people love to read, and I feel like we need to celebrate you and you need to tell us your story. So that's why my first question will be just a brief bio about yourself. Tell us something about you. Just a brief bio about you.
Well, Castro, first of all, thank you so much for having me.
Yes.
And I just want to say that it is an honor to be here,
Yes.
and you're doing a great job.
Thank you very much.
So I wish you all the best as you continue to do this and
Thank
to
you.
create content, this kind of content.
Thank you.
So for me, myself, I think at the essence, the essence of who I am is a storyteller.
Okay.
So when we come back, you're talking about Established Africa.
Yes.
Africans were storytellers in the oral literature tradition. Our grandparents passed on stories, so they taught us
Yes.
through the art of storytelling.
Yes.
And so for me, it was something that I was always very curious about. And I loved reading, I loved writing.
Yeah.
I'm very good at writing, I understand what my strengths are.
Yeah.
And just that ability to tell that story. So over the years, it was really about how do you tell a story that is inspiring, how do you tell a story that is empowering, and how do you tell a story that is transforming as well. And so these stories need to go beyond the just the facts, and touch the emotions, and touch the hearts, and touch the minds of people. So when we tell stories in the magazine, for instance, about women who've survived maybe abuse of any kind, or who've gone through a traumatic financial situation, but it is how do you come out of that? That's the information that begins to transform. So it goes beyond telling stories that are just inspiring, empowering, entertaining, to actually stories that are able to transform people. And so behind, I've had the privilege to be able to do that on TV, to be able to do that with the magazines, the products that we have, now with the digital assets that we have as well. And also to do it, on the newspaper. I've written a column for the last 20 years in the Sunday Nation newspaper. But really, it's really just about telling stories.
Yes. Wow, and that's really good about it. A lot of brands don't understand the aspect of it. Even like when we're launching products, when we are launching services in the market, people are not able to storytell, but you've been able to do that through your platform over years. And it has become something phenomenal. Like, I was even having a conversation with you the other day, and I was telling you, like, I really don't understand how you are not part of the government recognition and aspect of culture movers. People who have really moved the culture over time and a long time, because it was empowering to see women, beautiful women on those covers over time. It was I was really looking forward. I told you I used to read True Love when I was in high school. They used to have people who would bring the magazines there and read these different stories, and just to see our, some of our heroes just on those covers. It was very, very, inspiring for us to read their stories and to understand them. You have really presented our influencers before we had an influencer industry. know, and you've given people a platform even before we had social media.
Yes. I mean, I think we've definitely been behind, whether it's telling stories on fashion,
Yes.
and being able to craft the fashion narrative in Kenya, whether it's telling stories of celebrities, and even seeing ourselves in terms of defining who our celebrities are. Because when we started, the celebrities, Kenyans were looked at celebrities as politicians as celebrities.
Yes.
But politicians are not celebrities.
Exactly.
And so we had to now begin to change that and begin to say the musicians, and we were part of that movement, documenting their stories and saying these are the people you must celebrate,
yes.
whether they're musicians, they're actresses, because they're saying something, they're reflecting the society back to you, they're reflecting your life back to you, they are making you laugh, they're entertaining you, but they're also teaching you certain things. Yes.
Wow. And while you were starting out, like during the process of you're just fresh from campus, you're looking for a job, just something to keep you busy. Did you struggle first and foremost looking for a job while you finished campus, or an opportunity presented itself? How was it with you?
That was very different. That was 25 years ago.
Okay.
I was in campus. I did a Bachelor of Education in Literature and Linguistics, English Linguistics. So the first thing was, and the reason why I chose that, because I wanted a job, and the government was going to give us a job anyway.
Yes.
So my degree was in teaching. I was supposed to be a teacher.
Okay.
So came out of campus and obviously got posted to some place in Voi, which I didn't go because I didn't want to teach. Okay. But the good thing, what really worked for me was that I had started writing when I was in high school.
Okay.
In campus, I'd continued writing. So I'd been already doing a lot of work. So by the time I was coming out, I had what people would call even a portfolio. I already had a body of work. Okay. I had been published already. So getting a job in media houses was not difficult for me. So it was a bit easy for me because I was able to get a job within a month or two by just reactivating my old contacts. And so those are some of the things I always say to when I speak to people who are in campus. It's to tell them that when you're in the US, when you're in Europe, what happens is that university students are allowed to work. But we need to create a culture of working,
yes.
Whether it's through an internship or whatever it is, so that by the time you're going into the marketplace, you've got something to speak for yourself, because you're not going to wait for 4 years,
yes.
And come fresh-faced, and there's, God knows, every year, maybe 90,000 of you entering the job market. You need something, so those are some tricks that people can use. Just make sure that even as you're in campus, you're doing something. Get someone to employ you, whatever it is, during the school holidays, get something and work.
Yeah, in short, you're saying you have to be commercial ready before
yes.
you're even prepared by the institution that you're going to study to be ready for the market. You have to be ready prior.
You have to be. And it's interesting because a lot of times over the years I've hired people who have, say, went into university to do one degree, but because during the internship they did something, whatever presents itself to you, they did something completely different. Their career takes off in a different path, and they end up on the path that they found themselves going in. And the degree is just, the degree really, nowadays, your first degree is really just a foot in the door. Wow. It isn't a guarantee of any form of employment. It's a foot in the door.
Facts.
Yeah, and it's just, it's sieving.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're 22, 23, straight out of university. The number of CVs that are landing on my desk when we put up, a job opening, 1,000.
Wow.
How do you see? We begin to see by first we say, okay, let's look at the graduate. It's really nothing more than a foot in the door.
Wow. And is it alarming for you that we're in a digital era right now, and there are opportunities on digital across the world? But is it still alarming for the fact that if you put a job opening, you still get over 1,000 CVs on your email box?
Is it alarming? No, because it's what's in the market.
Okay.
It's a reflection of the unemployment, because you will get people applying for that position who are qualified, who've worked for years, some have even worked for 20 years, almost wanting an entry-level position. You see, it's just a reflection of what is in the market and the fact that our unemployment rate is as high as it is.
In 2020.
In 2020. And it's even, I would hazard a guess and say it's probably worse, because the number of people who've lost jobs in 2020. So it's not been good for us. 2020 has not been good for us. On the digital side though, it has, because it's opened up new opportunities for us. Yeah.
Wow. And when you got your first job, did you ever feel like those double standards on the basis of how men and women are paid?
Absolutely.
Or positions of jobs? What's your take on that? How did you look at that situation?
Absolutely. I mean, first of all, to get the job as a young woman coming into the media industry, there was, back then, I think we were just beginning to understand what sexual harassment was. And it was everything from how you even interviewed. You know, you go into an interview and someone says to you, are you planning to get married and get children? We don't want people taking 3 months maternity leave. So there was a lot of bias against the fact that you're young and you're female. You know, coming into a position, being looked at, you know, maybe say you've got a young male, same qualifications, he would be interviewed very differently. And then getting the job, his pay, and maybe it was also a reflection of the fact that sometimes women believe that they're not good negotiators. And men sometimes are better negotiators. So a man will go in, my first salary was, I think 18,000.
Okay.
Actually, round about there.
Yeah.
It was, now I look back, I'm like, oh my goodness.
The underpaying was real.
Yeah, I don't think it was really underpaying. I think what you could do with 18,000 in the mid-90s is not what you can do with 18,000 today. Yeah. So, but you know, for young men, they could go in and they would probably even command a higher salary because they were able to negotiate it, you know, better. Yeah. So I think there's also an element of the socialization of women. Yes, it's, you know, the stats are against you when you're coming in, at least for us back then. But there was also a lot of things that innately within us we were unable to negotiate. So yes, we did get paid less than the male counterparts. Promotions were more likely to be given to young males than to, you know, young females. In fact, I remember I worked in an organization where the joke was that for you to go up the corporate ladder, you had to be young male and Kikuyu, you know. What? So you're discounted on every front, you know. Fortunately, I was young, but male Kikuyu, you know. So, but that was then. You know, things have certainly improved for women in the workplace, but we have to understand that a lot of industries, and especially media back then, was very male-dominated and continues to be male-dominated until today.
I mean, we see it's still in the government, you know, I mean, because people are still asking for women's positions and they're not being presented. Yes. Do you know why they fear to present women in these positions? Because they know women are good in accountability.
Yes.
So they wouldn't.
Women will bring change.
Women. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
We need a female president for our 2022.
Amen. Let it be.
You know, let it be a female president. You know, otherwise, so you continue to work, and then eventually you decide to branch out and start a brand, which is very symbolic right now in our community, and it's legendary. Let me just use those words. So you decide to step out, start True Love magazine. How did True Love come about, and how were you able, what gave you even the confidence or inspiration, first of all, to start it? Let's start from there.
In 2004, I mean, I loved magazines. Growing up, I loved magazines.
Okay.
And just the gloss, the beautiful images, the inspiration, the aspiration that magazines presented to us and continue to present to us. And so when I left, I worked in a media house, and when I left in, I think, 2000, to go start my own business, I just worked for 5 years. This was 5 years after university.
Okay.
I had a young family, and I wanted to try my hand at business because at the heart I'm also an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I love selling things. And I left and I went into magazines and I worked for various people. And then in 2004, True Love magazine is actually a franchise. It's the best-selling black women's magazine on the continent of Africa.
Wow.
It's published in Southern Africa, it's published in East Africa by myself. It was published in West Africa. So in 2004, they came into the market from South Africa, and they headhunted me for the position of editor of True Love. And I did it for, I think, 6 years. And while working with them, I rose through the ranks and became publisher of several magazines.
Yeah.
And then in 2010, the group, which is called Media 24, decided to pull out of East Africa and focus on digital in East Africa. And so I bid for the franchise, and I've been publishing the magazine ever since. So that's how, but now as a business. So the beauty was that I continue to do what I enjoy, which is magazines and publishing, but doing it primarily as my own business.
Nice.
Yes.
Wow. And you know, a lot of young people struggle finding that startup, like the way you were able to find that startup capital to be able to purchase the franchise in itself. How did you come about it? Were you able, did this come with savings? You've been saving, and you just decided, okay, I have enough savings, let me buy this franchise? Or did you rally up a few friends here and there and decided, yo, there's an opportunity here, guys, come and invest? Well, how did you come about it?
It was savings.
Wow.
It was savings. It was take everything you've got because you believe in this dream.
Okay.
You believe in this, and not only, what also helped me, to be fair, was the fact that the brand had already been established and been in the market for 6 months, 6 years.
Okay.
So I wasn't coming in starting from scratch.
Yes.
So people were already aware of the brand. Advertisers were aware of the brand. They were already spending money on the brand. People were already buying the brand.
Yeah.
But it was literally just it was still a gamble, and a huge gamble. It was take every single shilling you got, and then also take debt. So you know, whatever money you can get from banks and it was all of that, and then put all of it in the business. And it took time. It took about 2 years before I could even begin to earn a salary from the business. So it was a difficult time where you're constantly giving into the business, but you're not even able to draw out from it. But you're establishing something, you're building something. So that's how we did it.
Wow. I mean, it's not easy, you know. I mean, you can easily explain. It looks easy as you explain, but I know that process of rallying up people, you know, just betting on yourself, you know, using your savings, and, you know, just praying and hoping that everything will work out, you get your money back. I know that process as an entrepreneur, because being in that process is whereby they tell you have to start embracing the entrepreneurial spirit, because you might either win
or not,
or lose.
And the thing is also, sometimes it's even the sacrifices that you make. You make sacrifices on the way you would like to live.
Yes.
You know, you decide, okay, I cannot live. I mean, I'm sure that people used to look at me and wonder, why do you live the way you live? We lived in a small little house that fortunately for us, one of the things that we had done is we had bought land. before all
Okay.
of this madness.
Okay.
Before the madness being going into business.
That's smart. That was
It's
good.
madness.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. You have to buy property.
We had a
before.
plotty.
Yes.
It's called a plotty.
Yes.
Yeah. So fortunately for us, we had this plot,
Mm.
and the big vision was to build a home on it.
Okay.
But then immediately we started. We went into business. We needed to find some money, and we found some money, and we put up a little. I would call it a nice word is to call it a cottage.
Mm-hmm.
But really, I think it was a bit of a shack. It was like a little shack.
Uh-huh.
So people would come to, and then, we didn't even know we were living in a shack.
Yeah.
Guys would come and we invite people. We're like, come to see us, come home.
Yeah.
And they're coming to this little space and they ask themselves, how do you even live like this?
Yeah.
How do you live here? But it's because you've got a dream and you've got a vision.
Yes.
And you say to yourself, I will build my dream house one day.
Yes.
I will buy my dream car one day.
Mm.
But for now, I've got to, you minimize your expenses
Yeah.
because you're investing in your dream. So it looks funny, when you think about it, but those are sacrifices that you have to make as an entrepreneur.
Yes.
It's not easy. We didn't land where we are.
Mm-hmm.
We started from the bottom and we built every single thing up. And did we lose money? We lost money. Because the other thing what we have to understand is in business, sometimes you will lose money.
It's part of the process.
We've lost money.
Yes.
A lot of money along
Yes.
the way. Having to write off debt. Maybe someone owes you money and they can't pay, they go bust. And you have to write that off. We've lost money. But you still come back every single day with that dream, with that vision, and you try again.
Wow. That is really, it's a really good story, that one.
It's a funny story now, and of course you get embarrassed because your friends are looking at you like, why are you living like this?
Yeah, why are you living like this? I know. I've been there, the process of, just entrepreneurial in itself, it's a journey to reckon with, So, in this process now, you've built Pole Pole. Let me ask you, did you have close friends who were very supportive during this process? Like they would buy the magazine, just to support you because they knew like buying this magazine is giving Carole Mandi this input to you, Did you have friends that supported you and some?
I did. And some did. And I think that's something we just have to accept.
Yeah.
And it's not just because you're an entrepreneur, it's just a fact of life.
Yeah.
That you will have some people who are close to you who will stand with you and some who are close to you who won't.
Never.
And that's including friends and family. And sometimes strangers are the ones who show up and really believe in you and put their weight behind you. So that's happened. I did have friends who would even come and say, I will speak, in my organization we will give you X amount of budget. So there was that, but there were also friends who didn't do anything like that. And we just accept it and we move on.
Yeah.
And you learn the lesson. You
Yes.
learn that sometimes you can't depend on people, and that's fine.
Wow.
But you're also grateful for the ones that you can depend on,
Yes.
and the ones who supported you when they did, and also understand that because someone supported you 2 years ago and they're not supporting you now, don't hold it against them.
A support is a
Because
support, any form of
yeah.
support.
Yeah.
It could be through advice, it could be through capital input, it could be through recommendation.
Yes.
We pick supports. I think the thing is we don't value the support, especially right now. A lot of people, what I'm seeing, they don't value support unless it's financial interest.
Yes.
And that's the wrong way to look at
Yes.
it. Because
Yes.
us, we really looked at it differently.
Yes.
Like, if you're going to support me through, just even advertising me on social media, my
Yes.
business in
Yes.
itself, that's enough support.
Yes. Yes.
Just commenting. Like, nowadays, I'm trying to teach people, like, don't look at support only from a financial value. Somebody could support you just by advising you,
Yes.
just by telling you, move in this direction, or by recommending, or by, but it's okay. But now, other than that, according to you, do you feel like you have reached your pinnacle of success in terms of, because right now we're in a digital era, prints are dying out in the market. A lot of prints are dying out. But you're still strong, you're still here, you're still moving numbers. I don't know which was your favorite edition this year that has done the best so far.
I think the best edition we've done was the one that we did with you, which was Tanasha Donna.
Oh, wow.
Well, that was a brilliant edition. We loved that telling that story.
Wow.
And the response
The
it
response
got
to it.
was also amazing.
Yes.
Yes, because it touched a nerve
Yeah.
with the Kenyan audience.
Yes.
And that was just brilliant.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I'm privileged to be a part of that, and I really thank you for giving us that platform, because I remember just being a manager. Now I'm no longer a manager, but just being a manager, it comes with taking calculative steps to be able to position your artist or your influencer into the right place.
Yes.
And I remember that time we just came fresh from Tanzania, and
Yes.
she was still broken with the whole aspect of the relationship.
Yes.
And I was really disturbed in my mind on a basis of the public wants to know what really happened. This is Tanasha. She's the most followed woman in Kenya. I cannot have her just put an article or just a picture and then just write a statement so that people can at least have whatever they want.
Yeah.
I'm having mediocre houses calling me for interviews because I know what they want.
Yeah.
And I'm here thinking, I have a brand that's even fragile.
Yes.
It could fall any time from now.
Yeah.
This brand, because that's the hardest task. And that's how I knew I'm a seasoned manager.
Yes.
Because I knew if I'd get Tanasha from this situation, and it's a fragile situation, and it falls, it's all on me. Because everybody will be like, you were the one who had her when she left down.
Yeah.
Why did her career flop?
Yes.
And I'm thinking, man, I can't have this lady fall off.
Yes.
So I started doing research. And then one of the assistants, out of nowhere, I think God had my cry. Because I prayed a lot. I was like, God, I need a solution to what I need to do with this brand. Because we don't have any capital. We don't have supporters. And I'm thinking, how the hell do you bounce back from this situation?
Yes.
And my mind was going around. And then I remember I got a call from one of your PAs. And she told me, we want to cover Tanasha on True Love. And I was like, okay, are you serious or is this for real? And she said, I'm serious, it will be an honor having her. When she used the word honor, I was like, wow, this is a God-given opportunity. I didn't even think twice.
Yeah.
And then that's when you did the interview. And do you know that changed my life?
Yeah.
Do you know that interview in itself got us a sponsor? Did you know that?
Are you serious?
Yes.
I
That
didn't know
interview in
that.
itself got us a private individual who's
yeah.
funded the music video
Oh wow.
that Tanasha just dropped. It was called Sound.
Oh wow.
That interview in itself.
And that's the beauty of we don't understand where the dots link up.
Exactly.
The fact that you guys were available,
Yes.
and we were there,
Yes.
and then I'm glad that we were also part of a dot that led her to where she got now. That's amazing.
Imagine.
That's amazing.
You were part and parcel of bouncing back Tanasha's career.
No, I'm so glad. I love that girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's brilliant. She's very talented, and
Thank you.
I'm so glad that we've got a Kenyan who's doing such great music.
Wow. These stories are just, as I continue listening to them, my mind is just running with
And that's why print is not dead.
Ooh.
Print is not dead.
That's a
Because exactly,
Yes.
because with Tanasha on the cover, and then we did the interview, which was a digital,
Yes.
addition to what we were doing with her in the magazine.
Yeah.
We were able to have a greater impact. So it's really about leveraging everything.
Yes.
Now, print is what we call traditional media. So bring in your traditional media, bring in your new media.
Yes.
You're able to tell that story
Yes.
so much more powerfully.
Yeah.
Because she's got the legacy of True Love. And
Yes.
True Love is it's a traditional
So-
media brand.
Exactly.
And that's what really worked in our favor and also in your favor.
Wow.
So it's both of them working together.
Do you feel like you've achieved your goals right now as you are, or do you feel there's room for more?
Oh no, I haven't. I mean,
What?
Oh, so much more to do.
Serious?
So much more to do. So much more to do.
After all the years? Because I feel like you've done a lot.
Yes, I mean, I think sometimes I get tired when I think about it myself, in terms of I don't have the energy that I had 25 years ago, but my heart is still passionate about telling stories. So, and what I say to my team all the time is we're storytellers across different mediums. So whether that medium is digital, whether it's ending up on print, whether it will be a book, whatever, we will continue to tell stories of women, of Africans across different platforms. And so the thing for me is I'm at that place where I'm having to train the people who have to take over from me, so I can do something else. But it's, we're nowhere near, we're scratching the surface. The beauty about the digital disruption is it's put everybody almost at par.
Yeah.
You know, with what you're doing, you're at par with Jeff Koinange Live, for instance. You get what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Because today this show could have 1 million views. Do you understand? Before, it used to be that unless you were working in an established, media house, then you're not going to go anywhere. Today, the digital disruption has just made everybody at par. So that means we have to begin to again recreate ourselves, reinvent ourselves. We've got the legacy brand, which is fantastic. But now for the new future that we're all going into, we have to reinvent. So there's a lot of work ahead of us, but it's exciting work. And so for me, the next thing is really about training and getting, ensuring that the next, crop of storytellers take it to the next level. Yeah, on the digital space primarily.
And this year in itself, if you look at it, like we're discussing, a lot of companies have really crumbled. They've closed, and retrenchments. I've seen a lot of retrenchments taking place. You are still surviving in these, dying times where our economy is struggling. How did you manage to maintain and balance your finances throughout the years until today? Your doors are still open for business. How have you managed to do that?
This has been probably, I would say, our worst year from a financial standpoint. And what that meant is that we had to make a lot of financial decisions. We had a beautiful office in one part of town. So we downsized significantly, moved into, and tried to take off almost about 60-70% of our rent into a much cheaper office, which is still nice, but it's not what we were used to or accustomed to before. So cost cutting is critical when in difficult times like this. And that's what you're seeing all companies doing. Big companies are doing it. You've seen retrenchments, just as you've said, right? They're retrenching. It's because the revenue that they were expecting is not coming in. So the first thing they do is begin to now trim the fat. And so that's just the reality of business in 2020, of a lot of businesses in 2020. So we've had to look very keenly at how we're spending our money, where our finances are going. But having said that, we've also had to look at what are the opportunities that the digital disruption that is now complete, I think, has presented for us. And there's a new word that's very interesting. It's called pivoting. And we've had to say, okay, how do we use the assets, use the legacy brand to now leverage onto new media and create new products for ourselves, for this market, for this time. And we've been able to do that. But we've also had a lot of goodwill from readers, from advertisers, people who've worked with us in the past, who are also going through the same disruption. So it's really just about supporting one another during this period. But it's been, I would say, probably our most difficult year. but it's also been a year where we've learned much and we've grown in tremendous ways. And we've learned that you're able to be creative with very little.
True.
You just need to use whatever you have. You can use very little, but you can create something that is enormous and becomes a sensation.
Oh. So what are some of the branding tips we can borrow from Carole when it comes to, because just the fact that everybody is familiar with those two words, true love, and they know it's a magazine. What tips do you think new businesses, especially on digital, just give me 3 tips, just 3 only, that you feel like, or 2, that you feel like businesses need to learn, especially when it comes to branding?
I think one of the things that, and that's a brilliant question, Castro, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
One of the things that we need to do is be authentic. Learn the value of authenticity on the digital space. And that's what sells. People are able to immediately, why people gravitate towards certain stories on the digital space is on the basis of the authenticity of that story. Is this person, are they telling me the truth? Because the digital space also has a lot of fake news, So keep the essence, be true, be truthful, be authentic.
Yes.
If you're an African storyteller, don't try to be an American storyteller. You can use some of the principles they use to tell a great African story, but be who you are, be authentic, be who you are. The second thing I would say is content. Content will always be king. Whatever brand you're building, whether you're building a water business, bottled water, you're going into bottled water.
Yes.
What is your content? Whether you're telling a story, what is your content?
Exactly.
Whether you're in music, what is your content? Don't think that the platform is all about the lights and the cameras. It's really about the content. You still have to have a really good story.
Yes.
You've got to have your stuff together. So I would say those are 2 critical things, because today anybody sitting anywhere, especially for us in media, in a bedroom somewhere with half the budget that I have, can have a more transformative story.
Yes.
Or maybe even make more money than I'm making, maybe because of content or authenticity, maybe because people resonate more with that person than they do with us who are so used to telling stories and telling them in a particular way. So I would say authenticity, but also just ensure that your content is on point, whatever it is that you're doing.
Wow, those are great. I think those are the best tips I've heard since the show started about branding. So what's the future for Carole Mandi, and are you calling it quits anytime soon?
Oh no, I don't believe in retirement.
Wow.
As a person, I don't believe in retirement. I believe in slowing down.
Yes.
I believe in getting to a place where you do what you want to do instead of what you have to do.
Yeah.
I think as I grew up in my career and built my business and built my name in the industry as well, I did a lot of what I had to do. And that is working long hours, putting in the slog, and now I've gotten to a place where I'm choosing what I want to do. I'm doing a bit more of what I want to do as opposed to what I have to do. Yeah. So the thing is, I will continue to work, but I desire that the work I do in the next phase of my life is more work that I enjoy doing as opposed to work that I have to do. So less grind, more fun.
More fun.
More fun.
Less grind, more fun. I like that. And to close on this, what would you like to be remembered as, especially as, as a culture leader? Let me give you that title. You're a culture leader, a culture queen. What would you like to be remembered? God forbid, Mother Nature decides to adopt you anytime from now. What would you like to be remembered? I think we'll look at that camera, and I just want you to talk to the young girl who's right now watching this on YouTube, probably in their bedroom, just, looking at you and being inspired by what you've done with the magazine, especially the lifestyle world. What would you like that person to remember you as, and, what would be your closing remarks?
Okay.
Yeah.
I think my closing remarks really will be, I would like to be remembered, before I look at the camera, I'd like to be remembered as a person who wanted to tell stories, to tell great stories, to tell African stories. I want to be remembered as a person who ensured that the African continent was not dark anymore, because we brought in the light of who we are as a people, and that we brought hope, that we brought inspiration, that during my time on the planet, I brought hope, I brought inspiration, I brought a smile. I helped people to improve their lives by the information that we gave them. So for me, that's really the heart of who I want to be remembered as. If I made your life better, then I think my work is done. But I don't think my work is done just as yet. I want to continue to tell those stories and to give people information that improves their lives, that transforms their lives, and also entertains them as well. So I think to the young girls who are watching this today, I started off with nothing. I mean, but I want you to know that you can be, what they say, which is a cliche, that you can be anything you want to be. It is actually true. If you put your heart to it and your mind to it. My mother used to say that your first husband should be your job. I would say be financially independent. No matter what you do in life, always make sure that you make an income. And this is particularly, with the sponsor mentality that is out there, make your own money. Make your own money. It is great to have your own money, regardless of who you marry or don't marry, or whatever choices you make in life. First of all, make your own money. Have an income. The second thing I would say to you is make an impact. Make it your business in life to have impact as a person, and to leave people better, to leave your community better, to leave your world better, to leave your country better, to leave your school better, to leave your university better. When you go to work in a particular place, make sure that when you leave, they say, they miss you, and whether you're running a business, make sure that your business makes an impact. And the third thing that I would like you to do, or to see yourself as a person of influence. And also think about, how do I make, reach over back and bring somebody else forward with me? How do I create opportunities for the people who are coming behind me? So I think those three things are, what I would say to you: impact, income, influence.
Wow. What more can I say? What more can I say, guys? This was honorable. I think this will go down the books in my life as a very, 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 very honorable moment that I had with you. And I mean, you've inspired the young girls. Sani up to nyinyi. Where I'm working on a life yako. If you feel like you want to throw it away, it's all on to you. If you feel like you want to learn something, tune into Establish African. This is where we'll teach you and inspire you at the same time. Know your worth, better than money. That's what we say. Thank you very much. Until next time, see ya.
Thank you, Castro.